AITA for packing my kid an inappropriate lunch. I, 34F, have a 5M son who attends preschool. A few hours after I picked him up from school today, I got a phone call from his teacher. She made absolutely no effort to sound kind when she, in an extremely rude and annoyed tone, told me to stop packing my son such disgusting and inappropriate lunches. I felt absolutely appalled when she said this, as me and the teacher have, up until now, always maintained a very friendly relationship. She added that the lunches I'm packing my son are very distracting for the other students and have an unpleasant odor. I told her that I understand her concerns, as the lunches I pack are definitely not the healthiest, but the lunches are according to my son's preferences. The usual lunch that I send him to school with is small celery sticks with blue cheese and goat cheese, kimchi and spam. We are Korean and he absolutely adores this dish, and spicy Doritos marinated in Sriracha. I know, but he deserves a snack, and I don't put that many chips in the baggie. I ended the call by saying that I very much appreciated her worries, but that at the end of the day, I am not going to drastically change my son's lunches all of a sudden, and that it's not my fault if other students are distracted by his meal. It is very important to me what my son enjoys, and I want him to like my lunches. The teacher sent an email to me an hour ago saying that my response was unacceptable, and that his lunches are just too inappropriate to be sent to school any longer. I haven't responded yet and don't want to. I want to maintain a healthy relationship with my son's teachers. I am confused as to what to do. AITA.
AITA, go to the principal. It's blatant racism. If they don't do anything, go to the press.
Report her to the principal. Her comments regarding your son's food are disgusting and have an unpleasant tone, aka cough racist tone. She's too inappropriate to be teaching at the school any longer. Thanks for the upvotes and awards.
NTA. A lot of second-generation immigrants are ashamed to bring their food in public because of people like this teacher, who clearly is very intolerant. Asian food is not inappropriate, she is.
This teacher is completely out of bounds. You need to bring this to administration. This could easily be seen as discriminatory based on his ethnicity, and I can't imagine the school wants to open that can of worms. Keep feeding that baby what he likes. You're a good mama. NTA.
NTA. I came into this thread wondering what exactly an inappropriate lunch might sandwiches cut into the shapes of dicks. Teacher is disrespectful and very much out of line.
NTA. Report her to the higher-ups in the school. This is racist.
Soft white TA. I love kimchi and goat cheese. Blue cheese, not so much. We don't really use sriracha, but doesn't it have a strong smell too? In any event, I know kimchi does, and also blue cheese. When you're in a shared space, you have to be cognizant and considerate of the other people there. I can't even imagine trying to get preschoolers who haven't been raised in an atmosphere where these strong smells are around to eat with the smell of kimchi in the air. I remember being on a plane once where the flight attendants had to wrestle dried squid, I think that's what it was. Some kind of dried fish snacks, out of someone's hands to put it away because people were actually throwing up in the aisles because of the smell. You just don't do things like that in shared. You should talk to the principal, head of the school, about the teacher's presentation of the issue.
NTA. I hate to say it, but it's pretty textbook racism, or at least cultural bigotry. If there were allergies or sensory issues, that might be different, but it sounds like she doesn't like that your food is different than standard white American in HR, and if this was one employee talking about another's lunch, we'd send them to training and give them a this is a school, then there might be education laws protecting you. Though I don't know if those apply to preschool.
NTA. I've had a teacher talk to me about my kids' lunches twice. First one when son was in pre-K. Please don't send blueberries in his lunch. He puts them in his mouth and then shoots them out like a machine. Second was for my daughter in grade 1. The bento characters are very cute, but she keeps playing with them and doesn't finish her lunch in time, doesn't want to miss recess, and is understandably irritated and hungry later. These are appropriate comments in a student's lunch. I don't see anything wrong with what you pack.
The teacher because of the way she handled it, and you because packing stuff that has such an intensive smell, to bring to a place where many people share a small space, like classrooms, isn't okay. I know this stuff tastes great, but for others to smell it and can't avoid it, it's a whole different thing.
YTA. Dude, I like smelly pickles as much as the rest of us whose cultures boast yummy but smelly fermented foods. But come on. We all know they reek. I wouldn't subject other little kids, who are confined in a shared space for lunch, to them. I'm sure there's a non-fermented meal option your son can enjoy at school.
It's preschool, they probably don't have a principal.
You are a sick person. Source. I thought the same thing.
I used to do the machine gun thing but with grapes XD.
The kimchi blue cheese combo probably is funky as after it's been sitting in a lunchbox especially. I would def lose my appetite eating next to someone eating that. The teacher is a complete for the way she went about it, but we do need to think about others when choosing foods in shared spaces. Just like microwaving popcorn in an office is rude, packing an incredibly pungent lunch can affect others.
It doesn't matter if they are called a principal. The teacher has a boss and that's the person OP should contact tomorrow. This is appalling.
I was thinking along the same lines. Sammy's? Peanuts?
I totally agree, and I hope the teacher does have a boss and they aren't also in. But IDK, if we can assume, admin, will deal with it in this situation.
NTA exactly. Your son's food is perfectly normal. For a 5-year-old. Your family's food is normal. The teacher is for not recognizing that.
I saw the title and thought, how much would I bet OP is not white and the teacher objected to food from there and yep, nailed it. NTA, OP.
Agree, and you should ask the principal if you need to escalate the issue to the school board, or if she'll deal with the teacher herself. You deserve and allowed to think the food is gross, that's her personal opinion. But in 2023 she had ought to keep her opinions to the other thing that irritates me about this is, if, and still a big, if, the other kids are really distracted, by the food. Read. Bullying your kid about the food. This teacher isn't going to do a good job defending your son and teaching these kids to accept differences. Instead, she's likely to join in the bullying herself. Huge bad apple racist vibes from this teacher.
I say wait for the principal because the situation can be easily resolved in-house and it shows that the principal cares if they resolve the issue. If I was a parent I would take that as there's really no benefit of going directly to the press as it could ruin the kid's experience there. Only treat it as a last resort when you know you're not being respected.
I was also thinking something along the lines of or-shaped and got very confused.
My oldest's preschool teacher hated that I sent him tuna salad sandwiches to school once a week for lunch, as it was and still is his favorite sandwich. She never once brought it up to me, but always told him that she thought it was stinky and she personally didn't like it but that she was glad he did. Honestly, that rubbed me the wrong way a little bit, but I can't believe OP's son's teacher would go so far. It's OP. Let the principal know and let your son have what he enjoys.
As an admin at a preschool, this absolutely would be addressed. Blatant racism is not acceptable.
YTA. I'm Korean and I'm baffled that you would send your kid to school with kimchi. I would never send kimchi with my kid to school or take it with me to work. Just like I wouldn't pack fish. BC of how smelly it is and how rude it would be for me to do that to my coworkers. I don't even like transporting kimchi in my car with double zip-locked gallon-sized bags to contain the smell. BC, you can still smell it and I am Korean. Why don't you make spam and Korean pickle kimbap instead? Korean pickle is so easy to make jeongjerum style and way less whoa. Thanks so much for the awards.
I'm guessing that this is in American Midwest. We have fatty, salty, and sugary, but most people aren't comfortable with aromatics. Most Midwestern food barely has a scent, and when it does it's savory. Sharp, spicy, and vinegar-based aromatics upset people around here. This whole cultural sinkhole in the middle of the country is basically a culinary desert, with a few bright spots scattered here and there.
3rd Gen here. Brought seaweed as a snack in 3rd grade, Virginia. Never did that again. Still eat seaweed as a snack in the privacy of my own home.
NTA, but let's not pretend that the blue cheese is not a major stinker and not exactly a usual kid lunch item.
Right, like there's good ways to have these conversations. Kids are silly and play with their food or make big messes. But the teacher's comments are just racist. She doesn't like kimchi or sriracha so she wants it gone.
Judge much? You sound as bad the teacher. You can appreciate other cuisines without trashing others.
Well, I am Korean and I wouldn't send my kids to school with kimchi. That thing smells Still inappropriate response from the teacher.
Kimchi is a lot more pungent than blue cheese. I bet that's what actually set her off.
I'm a first-gen Vietnamese. Immigrated when I was a kid and I wouldn't ever bring something pungent to school for lunch. Even I have to admit some of our foods have a pretty strong aroma. Fish sauce doesn't smell particularly appealing. It is fermented fish after all. But it is good.
I got in trouble in middle school for having a Mike's Hard Lemonade in my lunchbox. My grandparents, who aren't drinkers, were taking care of us while my parents took an anniversary trip. Grandma just popped a MHL in with the rest of my lunch thinking it was one of our fancy juices. Mom was big on glass bottles for beverages at the time, for some reason lol. Lunch monitors didn't catch it, but I was rooked by the next period, threw up all over, and then the nurse smelled alcohol and chaos ensued.